Hey there, what's up? Another Unity video. I did say that once I'm done and the game works and the card game is there, then I'll show you and we'll talk about the rules. So I'm incredibly ecstatic because it works now. I just played against myself like a couple of times, full games, and it works. I've done everything that there was to do in the game. I found all the bugs. I fixed all the bugs, at least I hope so. There's probably something else that I missed. It has to be, but that's good. That's a great and wonderful thing. There's this thing in coding that when I find a bug, I'm okay with it. Like if I write an article and you find something wrong with it, I'll feel terrible. I will feel absolutely terrible. But if you go over any program that I wrote, any code section that I wrote, and you run it and there's a bug and you find it, I'll be so happy because I get to fix it and I get to fix it. I get to make it go away. It'll never be there, okay? So I'm always happy when I find bugs in whatever it is that I write. It's the only thing in the world that works that way. Okay, usually when you screw up, you feel bad, but in coding you just feel good. I don't know why. Maybe it's because as a baseline I consider myself a bad programmer. I'm probably not, but I just consider myself like, I'm pretty crap at this. I don't know what to do. I'm like trying stuff. This is probably bad coding or bad. It's probably not efficient. So I start from there. So when there's a bug, I fix it and I'm happy. But currently, as far as I know, there are no bugs and it works completely. The actual gameplay works completely. And I did promise, okay, hold on. There you go. I did promise that once I have it running, I'll show you the rules and we'll talk about the rules. So I didn't really think this through completely, but let's just start a game and I'll go over the entire rules. It should be pretty easy now that everything is there and it works and it runs. And the only thing that, yeah, GUI elements suck. It's supposed to be here, but GUI in Unity, if you've ever worked with Unity and GUI, you know that it sucks ass. And this is the most basic of buttons that just runs the end turn function for me. So it moved here instead of being here for some reason. I don't even care why. It's probably because the aspect ratio is a little bit different, and you know what? I don't care. It does not matter at all. So let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the rules. Let's run them over. So this is a card game. It goes after TCGs and CCGs that you're used to seeing, okay? It is played with a standard deck, but we have the mindset is of a TCG that you collect card games and you have a lot of cards. We can see that each player has 40 HP, okay, top and at the bottom. It looks disgusting, but it works. It's a prototype, remember. So each player has 40 HP. If you go to 0, you lose the game, okay? Your purpose is to make the other player get to 0 HP. There's no draw possible. Currently, there's no draw possible whatsoever because on your turn, if it's not your turn, you can't deal damage. There's no way the damage will go out if it's not your turn. So draws are impossible, I think. I mean, I'm pretty sure, but, you know, I'm pretty sure. It is my game. I should be completely sure. So draws are impossible. You have to take it down. And the way that you do it is by summoning minions and letting them attack. So you have two different types of cards in this game. You have number cards and you have face cards. These are all number cards, okay? And this is a face card. Face cards have faces on them. Surprise. Traditionally, they are jacks, kings, queens, jack, queens, kings, and aces. Right now in this game, you will never see aces and jacks. They don't exist. There's only kings and queens. Doesn't really matter. There, and also jokers. Now, the difference is that with number cards, we look at their number. Okay, so this is a 10-10. Okay, but when we talk about face cards, we actually look at their suit, except for jokers, which are jokers in there specifically. But the face cards are actually power-ups. We'll talk about that in a second. First of all, let's summon a minion. So when you summon a minion, what's cool about this, the main mechanic that I talked about last time, if you remember the previous Unity video, is that you get to create your own minions. Okay, a minion has an attack value and a life value, an HP value. So the first card that I'll click will be the HP, and the second card that I'll click will be the attack. So if I do a 5-10, this has 5 HP and 10 damage. But if I do a 10-5, it has 10 HP and 5 damage. This is how you gotta pick and choose. Clearly, I'm gonna put a 10-10 because it's the strongest thing right now. So I'm just gonna press it here, and I'm gonna summon it, and it has 10 HP and also 10 damage. The bottom one is 10 HP. The reason that you can see the HP is clearly that the card itself is, that the minion itself is composed of the 10-10, but it can take damage and then have less HP, less current HP. So if it updates, you'll see this updating, but this will remain 10 because that's the minion, okay? That's the card that you used for it. Now you can only summon one minion per turn, so I can't actually summon another one. We'll talk about what this is in a second. And that's how you summon minions. Now we have all of the power-ups. We have 5 power-ups to talk about, okay? Because 4 suits. Okay, we've got the suits, the card suits, in case you're unfamiliar with card suits. It's the spades, clubs, diamonds, and hearts. So this is a spade, these are hearts, these are diamonds. So let's talk about spades. The black ones first. The black ones, the spades and clubs are attack ones. So the spade is kind of like an arrow. I think it's intuitive. It's like an arrow, and when you summon a minion, you can't attack with it immediately because it's sleeping. It'll only be able to attack the second turn. With spades, it can attack immediately. Okay, I dealt 10 damage, there you go. And the spades, the spades goes away and doesn't update, and that's a bug, and I'll have to write it down and fix it. And that's great. I found another bug that's freaking wonderful. That's actually really great. I know exactly why that happens, and that feels wonderful. I know exactly why that happened. Just graveyard after direct damage to player. I know exactly why that happens, and that's because I'm an idiot, and I'll fix it. It's one line of code. So that's wonderful. I'm really happy that I found a bug. That's great. So that's what happens when you use spades. Now I'm going to press enter, and hopefully there's other... yeah, there's the heart and there's the diamond. So let's talk about hearts and diamonds and then go back for clubs. So let's summon this thing, and now it can attack immediately. Okay, now it can attack immediately. First, let's use diamonds. What diamonds does, the red ones are defensive, okay? So what a diamond does is, it's a diamond, so it looks like a shield, right? It will remove one, it will prevent, excuse me, not remove, it will prevent one instance of damage. So right now if I'll attack this thing, I'll deal 7 damage, and it's supposed to deal 10 damage to me, okay? Because minions attack simultaneously. It's supposed to deal 10 damage, but it won't because I have diamonds. The diamonds will go away, okay? The diamonds went away. I dealt 10 damage, so I dealt 7 damage because you can see that here, it only has 3 HP, but I didn't take any damage because diamonds prevented it. Now you can put as many diamonds as you want, but you can only attack once per turn, right? Well, wrong, you can only attack once per turn unless you have a clubs. I just don't have clubs to show you right now, so I don't have clubs. But with clubs, you can attack twice in a turn. That's what clubs does. And hearts is one last thing. Hearts is taunt. So if I'll end the turn right now, and I want to attack with this, because now it can attack, I can't attack directly, okay? Previously I could attack directly, right now I can't. I can only attack the taunted minion. So I have to get rid of the taunted minion before I can attack anything that isn't taunted or the player directly. So those are the 4 power-ups. We have one more that we haven't talked about, and I'm actually going to do this, maybe get new cards, and hopefully one of them will be a Joker, so that I can show you what Joker does, though it's really, really, really not complicated to understand what a Joker does, and clearly RNG is not my favorite today. Oh my god, one last try. No, one additional last try. There you go, we get 2 of them! Okay, again, there's only 2. So, what a Joker does is very simple. It's direct damage. You use a number card, and it deals direct damage. That's it, that's a Joker. We went through all 5 face cards. When during a turn, you use a lot of cards. The biggest reason for that is because a minion is actually comprised of 2 cards, and that's a lot. This means that you will run out of cards very quickly, and that's why the game has, I had to balance it, okay, it's part of the design and the balance process, a lot of card draws. And you can actually sacrifice for cards. You can summon once per turn, and you can sacrifice once per turn. And there are 3 rules for gaining additional cards other than drawing 1 card at the beginning of your turn. The first one is throwing away 2 number cards. Okay, 2 number cards for 1 card. This is a way for you to throw out your 2s and 3s and 4s that kind of suck in order to get a new card. So I'm going to throw out these 2 4s, and I gained another card. Okay? Now I can't really sacrifice anything else because I can only sacrifice once per turn. The other way you can sacrifice something is sacrifice a face card, which are way more valuable than just number cards, but you'll get 2 cards for them, okay? So currently I have 8 cards in my hand. I'll sacrifice this. I'll now have 9 cards in my hand, okay? So it's -1 plus 2, and when you sacrifice 2 number cards, it's -2 plus 1. So it is card draw, but it allows you to draw more cards, but it is kind of has its interesting balance. The last thing that allows you to draw more cards is if you don't actually use any cards from your hand, you can attack from anything on the board, okay? So you can attack with anything on the board, but if I don't, so I can attack with this, but if I don't actually use any cards from my hand, I will gain an additional card at the end of my turn. This especially helps. It's only relevant when you really have not a lot of cards and you can't actually do anything, because in most cases, in most turns, you want to do something. But if you can't do anything, you probably don't. If you don't do anything, it's probably because you can't, and then you kind of need more cards. So if you don't play anything, okay, if you don't play anything out of your hand, you'll gain an additional card. So I'll press end turn. I currently have 4 cards, and you'll see that I'll actually have 5 cards because I drew an extra one at the end of my turn. See, now I have 5 cards here. So that's what happens. Is there anything that I forgot? I went through all 5 face cards, the 2 sacrifices, the 1 gaining additional, and that's it. I think we went over everything. We went over the entire rule set. It's a lot easier when you have everything here, isn't it? Yes, it is. That's quite lovely. And that's the game. It's still called Card Combat Game, CCGG, yes, because I still have a better name for it currently. But that's it. It works. I'm super stoked. There's super tons amount of work for me to still do, because there's so many things. I have notes. There's so much to do. I'm not even talking about straight up network code, which is the obvious next step, but there's going over the code, commenting a little bit on what I didn't. I did on most of it because I've been, I've been taught well. I comment most of my code, but there's still a lot to do. There's a lot to work in terms of efficiency. Some stuff really suck. There's a ton of feedback that you don't get. I don't know how many cards. I have to count how many cards I have in my hand. It'll be a lot more comfortable to actually just get a number for it. It'll be easier to see if you've summoned, see if you've already sacrificed something, just to know it. It's not necessary because you should be able to know it and you can't do it, but it'll be nice to have that feedback. All kinds of other things, clearly network code so you could play with someone. But this is the basic prototype and it works. And I'm so happy. It took such a long time. I mean, I worked on it this following week, this last week. I think every single day, the last 5 days, every single day between 6 and 8 hours, which is a lot. And previously I also had about the same amount. So I guess 8 or 9, maybe 10 days. Let's go with 9 days of between 6 and 8 hours every day from scratch to what we have right now. I don't know if that's good or bad at all. I've written about 500 or 600 lines of code. No, probably less than that. It's probably 400 or 500 lines of code. And it works! I'm super stoked. I'm really happy. Stage number 1 is done, okay? First step of this thing is done. It works, except for the one bug that I have to fix, and I'll do it like right now, because I know exactly why that happens. And that's really great. And that's it. I'm super happy. I'll let you know when more stuff happen. And yeah, it works. I could show this. I could use this. I could show off. I could prototype things. It's good. I'm super happy. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys next time, hopefully. So, bye. I'm going to sleep.